Wow, what a great way to kickstart your first full feature. This was intense. This was an intense role that you had. What was it like, doing the research to become your character of Joe?
It was a long, difficult process, but I think it was a necessary one and a really important one, because as an actor, when you're playing a character with schizophrenia, a character who's struggling with mental health, you can't just understand the script and the scenes. You also have to understand the person. You have to understand that it's more than just lines and beats and you know little scenes. It's also an entire world, an entire real human being behind all of those. And so yeah, I mean when I was researching the roles, we took our time to turn every stone to learn everything we possibly could about schizophrenia. We interviewed doctors, we interviewed psychiatrists, we read books, we watched documentaries, we did everything we could because it was so necessary, and you really have to focus on every little detail you could find in order to portray this character with compassion and to understand him and to show it in a way that does justice to the memory. Because at the end of the day, this is a true story, and this was a real person. And as an actor, I really took my time to know that and to make sure I portrayed it in a way that justified and brought awareness to that.
I feel like you did an incredible job with it, and there was so many moments that were just like, whoa, like this hurt. I'm from San Gabriel Valley. I currently live in Rosemead. I am familiar with the whole thing, but it just felt surreal watching it, unfold all over again. For you, like you got to collaborate with Lucy Liu, which is a legend, an icon in the film world. So, what was that chemistry like between the two of you on set?
Lucy is the most sweetest, most amazing person in the world. She was my rock, on set. She plays my mother in the movie, obviously, but she was like a mother to me, offset when we weren't rolling. And, that just shows, the kind of person she is because she would literally take care of me when she didn't have to. She would help me with things like, we shot this in New York and it was cold, and she would help me with things like knowing what to wear. She would make sure I have a jacket. She would make sure I was getting food where I know what restaurants to go to, what the nice places to eat, how to get around. She would help me with things like that. And so, the chemistry just came so naturally because I think Lucy is just such an amazing and easy person to work with. She really embodies what it means to be a mother, and I'm so grateful to her because without her, I would not have been able to do this role. And I would not, I mean, this was my first feature film, so I don't even think I would have been able to get through that, if it hadn't been for her.
Why do you feel this role was very important for you?
I think this role is very relatable to me. I am Asian American. I grew up not too far from San Gabriel Valley like yourself. I grew up, fairly close actually. And I also have immigrant parents. So this story, it's something that in many elements I lived through. Even though I don't have schizophrenia, I had struggles similar to this. I know what it feels like to carry shame and be embarrassed about the struggles within your family, within yourself. I know what these stigmas are and what they feel like. And so, this character, it cuts straight to me, straight to the core of who I am. And as a result, I'm so touched by it. And I want so desperately for this movie to be seen for that exact reason because I think there's so many people out there just like myself, just like Joe in the film, people who relate to so many aspects of it and who struggle with stigmas and mental health and who need help, who, maybe aren't willing or don't know how to get help. And I think, it all starts with having conversations and inspiring others to, raise awareness and educate themselves and get the help that they need.